Hey everyone, this is Jace bringing you an audio commentary for another Opera Omnia video. This time we're taking a look at Dimensions and Transcendence Reprise number 3. This is the Transcendence Tier 10 fight. And when I saw that this is going to be the first Reprise fight, I thought, man, I honestly just want to bring the exact same team that I brought for Transcendence Tier 10. So that's what I'm doing. We have Tidus, Cissnei, and Ignis. For those who have forgotten the mechanics of this fight, I'll go ahead and explain them to you. So the main boss, B, he has a few different things he'll do based on the number of debuffs that he currently has on them. Now, I'm not going to go through each level. You can just go ahead and check the boss's description for that. But basically what that means is you want to get 8 debuffs onto him as soon as possible. So on my team, Tidus brings 3 at wave start. The Caius LD call brings 4 more, which I had on Ignis. And then Ignis himself, his LD will bring another debuff, so that adds up to 8. So that handles the whole debuff mechanic that we have to worry about there. With the rest of my team, what I'm doing here is I'm just preparing for Tidus's first force time. So I'll be using Tidus to push the boss's turn back just once. You saw that I spammed a few Tidus abilities so that I could unbreak the boss and push him back again. I set up Cissnei's follow-ups here using her LD to make sure that her Wild Rekka stack stay at 3, and she's always giving us a nice strong follow-up attack with 3 HP attacks in it. And I'm going to be using Ignis to charge the gauge, so using his skill 1 and his skill 2. He's just going to be sitting there, cooking us some meals and charging our force gauge. Now for the boss's other mechanics, you can see that the boss has 3 thresholds on its HP bar. The second one, the one at 50%, isn't really anything to worry about. It's just an aura increase. In modern Shinryu, we see that at, I believe, 75% or 80% or something like that. For this boss, it's at 50%. It's the 60 and 40% thresholds that we need to worry about. So with those 2 thresholds, the boss is going to give the sweepers, enemies A and C, the order to attack. Now, if the sweepers have more than 50% of their HP, they will just target a party member and automatically kill them. No matter what you do, the party member is just going to die. However, if the sweepers are below 50%, instead of just automatically killing your party, they'll do a Brave plus HP attack. Now, this Brave plus HP attack is still very strong, and it'll most likely kill whoever it targets if you don't have some kind of mitigation. So you can see that on Cissnei, I brought a Warrior of Light Call, and I also brought the Shiva summon, just in case I needed to land the freeze debuff on the sweepers once we get to one of those thresholds, specifically the 60% threshold. You might have noticed this already, but Ignis is also, in addition to charging our gauge and applying a debuff, we're also using Ignis for his turn manipulation. So with his EX, we are able to bring Tidus up, and that combined with the breaks from Tidus allows us to make sure that the boss doesn't get another turn. Alright, we are in Tidus's first force time. So my plan for this force time is just to get the boss to just above 60% HP. I want to get rid of as much of the boss's HP as possible without triggering the order to attack for the sweepers and getting myself killed. So the plan is to use the summon sometime near like maybe 61, 62% of the boss's HP. With the order to attack for the sweepers, if the boss gives the order while you're in summon or burst, if I'm remembering correctly, they'll wait until after the summon or burst phase is over before they actually execute that command. So if they are above 50% when they're given the command, but you bring them below 50% before the phase is over, then they'll do the below 50% attack. However, you can just kill them. So if you kill the sweepers that are given the attack order, the ones that are resummoned will not have the attack order, and so they won't execute that order. As you can see, anytime you kill the sweepers, the boss will just summon new ones, and that's the case throughout the entire fight. Now, the reason this is a little bit of a tightrope walk is even if we decide to cool it on the attacks for Tidus, we still have Cissnei giving 3 follow-up HP attacks after every turn. So here, I decided to just use my summon to be safe, and the summon just killed the sweepers outright. You can see that the sweepers are given the order to attack, and they're at 100% HP, but because we're in the summon phase, they don't actually execute that order. They're going to wait until the phase is done. Ending the force time with Tidus's EX brought them below 50%, and Cissnei's follow-up just outright killed them. So these sweepers are not going to execute the order that the boss gave, but when I was running this, I just wanted to be extra safe, so I went ahead and used the Warrior of Light LD call, so that if we were able to get them below 50% again and they came out and attacked us, we'd be able to survive that attack. So now, at this point, we're just going to be charging the gauge with Ignis. We want to get back into a Tidus force time as quickly as possible. And my plan here was to end on Memory Lane Pastry. That's the, I believe that's the Ignis stance that gives more HP regen. In fact, I think it's the only stance that has HP regen. I couldn't quite remember, but I remember it had HP regen. The reason that's important is that the boss, once you get below 50%, not 50, 40%, I believe, he has an HP poison. And we want to make sure that we can meet the HP requirement. But if I feel like for tier 10, the HP requirement was lower than what the HP requirement for the Reprise is, because really there's no real need to worry about the HP requirement for this, but I don't know. I can't remember. I could be mistaken. I feel like it was more of a concern in the actual fight. But as you can see, we've fully charged the gauge with Ignis. I go to activate Tidus's BT effect here, and I make sure to target one of the adds because I really don't want to push the boss below 40% while we're not in Tidus's burst phase. Because like I mentioned, if you're in a summon or a burst phase when the boss gives the order to attack to the adds there, they'll wait until the phase is over. And the plan here is for the boss to be dead when the burst phase is over, so we don't have to worry about that threshold attack. So here I'm really playing with fire, activating Cissnei's LD and getting the follow-ups going, but honestly, she's not going to get another turn, so we need to have her set up. Here I realized that Memory Lane Pastry was going to fall off before we could go into Tidus's burst phase, so the party actually wouldn't have HP regen. But like I mentioned earlier, the HP requirement for this specific version of the fight is actually quite high. You don't really have to worry about the HP requirement. At least if the HP poison is the only way you're taking damage, you don't have to worry about it, and that's going to be the case for us. Alright, so here we are with Tidus's second force time. We have the Sid Rain's LD call ready for him so that he can launch the entire time that he's in his first phase. And as you can see, the boss's HP is getting quite close to that 40% mark. I again decide to play with fire and go through with the full launch here, just keeping my fingers crossed that we wouldn't pass the 40% threshold. And I figured 5%, that's plenty. I can just go ahead and use Tidus's LD. And here's where I started to sweat, because I forgot about how often the eject shot follow-up is going to be happening. or whatever it's called, the upgraded follow-up. But anyway, I decided this was the time to go into the burst phase. I didn't want to wait until 7 turns because we were down to 41%. And honestly, that's about it for the video. I'm going to go ahead and end the commentary here and allow you to enjoy what is now an old school Tidus FR burst phase. If you enjoy the video, feel free to let me know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe, and I will catch you later.
レディーゴー！ガンガンいくっすよ！もういっちゃ！シューター！シューター！引き継ぐわ！引き受けた！抵抗は無駄よ！怖いものなし。支援するよ。叩き切る。鍛錬の成果だ。やってやる。貫け。シューター。狙うは一つ。ゴールだ。引き継ぐわ。引き受けた。動いたら痛いわよ。